Well, hello, Bob Dendry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. First of all, thank you for your patience, and I do apologise there was no video last week. Things are still a little bit hectic with the move, and I know I keep using that excuse. But there was a lot on last week. You know, had contractors, electricians in, tweaking some stuff, setting up my sort of network stack for the house. And hopefully, we've got a long weekend this weekend, so hopefully I can start to get... back up to date with all the recording. But I did want to start off over here in San Francisco. And at the end of the last episode, we did talk about potentially looking to expand this to 8 or 9 tracks because there is, a bit of congestion around, especially our coal and iron ore trains, which are really important and do need more capacity because we've got like thousands of units of coal and iron ore just sitting waiting to be shipped, but we can't really support getting any new services running just because we're pretty much at capacity here. So I want to start off by working on fixing that. So really our massive point of conflict is this join here, and of course this one here as well. So I think what we'll do, we will use our current freight set of tracks for our sort of general freight, and we'll add an additional 2 or 3 tracks here to use as dedicated heavy bulk freight, examples coal, iron ore, etc. And it will really be a dedicated link between our coal and iron ore fields over here and our steel mill, which I think should allow us to ship a lot more. So easy way to start off this is to just lay down some new sets of tracks, which we will do. I'm just going to lay 3 to start with. I don't know if we'll use all 3 right now, but it'll just allow us to, I guess, have that option. We'll also upgrade this track here to high speed, just because it's just a random sort of little stretch of our regular tracks, and we'll pop it up to high speed. These would sort of be not only high speed track, but they would be like heavy rail as well to allow probably higher axle loads on our freight trains. So we'll look to get a lot of those upgraded as well. And really right now, this sort of half here, getting our coal trains onto this line is actually really simple. We just need to lay more parallel tracks, and it doesn't really require any disruption to the network. So I'm going to quickly do that, and then we'll sort of have a look and see, I guess, what we need to do for the rest, because that's where it becomes a little bit more complicated. So we can sort of lay this down here and just pretty much hook in here. These will remain quite high speed, though we might realign it a little bit potentially, because it does go down to about 80, which might be okay, but we'll see how it looks, I guess, as we kick on. We've got to ask ourselves when our triple track will start, and maybe sort of where we're splitting off here might be a good place. Of course, we can always extend this further down the line should we need to. And we can already see this is looking like really big, massive, heavy. And I'm just going to go through and do a few more upgrades as well while we're here. So here's where things are a little bit trickier to organize. So obviously we did have this original sort of almost a flying junction type setup where our coal trains go down under our existing tracks and feed through to the station. And our general freight tracks coming down the screen actually skirt around that, which makes sense with the current configuration, obviously. The question is, how do we make that work with dedicated coal and iron ore tracks? And this is where we're probably going to need to pause. So we'll pause. We're going to need to delete some track, make some lines a bit unhappy, of course. And that should be okay. I'm just going to pretty much get rid of a fair chunk of this. We do also have this sort of, oh god, losing some frames, this ugly sort of bit here, which we might try and fix up while we're doing this as well. But pretty much what we'll be doing is we'll be taking this pair of tracks and then running them parallel to our existing Dude Where's Our House line tracks, and should be able to hopefully join up and sort of run this all quite nicely. We've got a few collisions, so we might need to do a little bit of fixing. I'm going to build anyway here, I should say, because we're going to be sort of rerouting this a little bit as well. It's interesting, we've got some residential here, not the best. I think we're probably going to have to remove at least some of that. And I guess that's just the fault of the people who built there. They should have known we were going to be expanding this line, right? Maybe there was a caveat on the land or something like that. So we'll just pretend that was the case anyway, so we don't feel quite as bad for destroying all their homes. But I'm hoping we've got a fairly good sort of bit of space here to run through our tri-tracks without getting any strange, weird sort of overhanging rails, which we had before. I think we need to go down 3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a bit more. We'll try 4. Okay, so we've got that looking okay. It will connect up there, which is good. A little bit of a kink there, so we might take it back a little bit further. Okay, that's pretty nice. Not terrible. Can we get 3 tracks in there? Potentially, but we might actually need to move them over. No, it looks like we're fine there. Okay, cool. The question is, how are we going to get these up and at them, as you might say? And as you can see, yeah, we do have some issues getting these up, and we do have some slowdowns, but I think we should be okay. Probably want to take this road back, though. I don't know if that makes the most sense, if I'm honest. But we do have our reconnection made now, which is good. So we've got a few things that are obviously broken. Oh, got a lot, don't we? That's interesting. I wouldn't expect there would be that many broken lines. Oh, of course. They're broken because we actually haven't fully connected this. So hopefully if we connect that, if we're able to, we will fix that. We will need to rebuild this slightly. Okay, that fixes a fair amount. That's good. Just take this back a little bit and sort of rejoin it. We're still having collision. That looks very silly. But, you know, we're going to build it anyway. Whatever. Okay, so we've just got 2 of our coal trains that can't connect up properly. And we have a lost train as well. Where are you? This is this guy here, right? Is it? I don't know why you would have no path, because you should be able to. Okay, cool. That's joined up. And we've just got to could not connect all stations at this point. Which is an interesting one. we will need to actually make a connection for old mate here to get in there. That we should fix that. Who are you? You've got no path. You should have a path. Okay, cool. So we just got a could not connect all stations problem here, which I'm wondering why. I think the answer is that there's a little disconnected piece of track. Yes, that's what it was. Okay. So we should be right to unpause now, and pretty much everything should be okay. Shouldn't really be any arguments, which is good. Good to see. And wow, like look at this. This is massive. 9 tracks through San Francisco. So I'm hoping with this sort of dedicated capacity, we should be able to increase the number of coal trains we're running. Because, I mean, there is some capacity on sort of this section of the line. It was really once this sort of movement where everything joins up happens, that was when it became a bit more difficult. So bearing in mind to produce steel, we need an equal amount of coal and iron ore. I think I'm going to add 1 new train to each line. So we've got 2 on each line at the moment. Potentially we could add another to each to sort of double the amount of service, but I don't want to stress it too much at this point because we have obviously just made some major network changes and I want to make sure those work before we go too overboard. So we have unlocked some CSX liveries for our ES44AC. So we're going to use these on these new trains. I think we'll try 3 at the moment. Let's see what sort of power rating we've got. Yeah, so we're sitting at good. And yeah, it looks like we'll speed up reasonably quickly. So we'll go with that. Actually want 4 of those. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then we will assign 1 to each line. All right, now with those new trains running on our existing coal and iron ore services, hopefully that should lift the amount we are transporting, as you can see. Quite a bit of iron ore sitting here, though it actually has reduced a little bit. I think the additional trains hopefully should pretty much bring that down towards 0. There's still going to be some sitting there, but yeah, I think the added capacity from the dedicated line as well as the new trains running on it should be really good for us. Next, I want to pop over here to Santa Rosa, and I've got a couple of things I want to work on here. First of all, we'll focus on our train network a little bit, and then we will do something with the roads as well. I mean, really, both of these things are really road-oriented, so I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. So, first of all, we've got our freight services which are dropping off here at Santa Rosa sidings. This is a very old-school sort of setup, and it probably doesn't really meet our needs anymore. We've got some really sort of big movements happening here. You can see that's like very sort of ugly sort of rail connection happening there, or switching movement happening there. And I think we're really past needing this to be a train freight depot. Obviously, we've got our LA hub over here, and it's really not that far from LA to Santa Rosa, especially with modern road vehicles. So I think we might actually decommission the use of this station for freight. We might shift across our freight to run via road, and then we can reconfigure the station itself to be a little bit nicer and I guess take advantage of the space we've got a little bit better. And other thing I want to do is extend our motorway through to LA, as well as planning for an eventual extension to Las Vegas. So we'll be using our parallel tool again to make this hopefully nice and easy and simple. But I'm thinking what we're going to do, we're going to sort of pass around the back of this oil well, and then between the oil well and our iron ore mine, we'll cross the rail line here and here and have a junction set up sort of to feed into this left side of the city from our current point of view. That's going to change some of the movements we make. I think we'll discontinue this road entirely. or maybe just see how it goes. But I want to discourage use of this because it is very backed up and it's just not a modern road alignment. So we might leave it for a bit, see how the take up is for the new motorway connection. And if need be, we will then, discontinue it. Let's see how we go though. So just want to definitely not make a connection like that. Just sort of a nice winding connection around the back here like so. And again, a little bit more. Oh gosh. Then we probably want to go up, pass over the existing dirt road here. In case we do want to retain it, I think. I think we should be able to pass over the top. Yeah, perfect. And just try and stay flat. And probably, I don't know if we'll come down here or we'll just stay. We might just continue sort of running like so. I don't know if this is the most efficient way or affordable way to do this, but I guess while we're working out what we do with that existing sort of main connection, we might just leave it like that. And pass over the top of this existing road. And yeah, from there we will pretty much just hit the ground. And we will have our connection around about there. All right, so I'm going to use our parallel tool again, and I'm going to see if I can actually do it properly this time. I think I was quite successful last time, except I actually laid the road in the wrong direction. So let's see. Is it going to work now? I'm going to go mark a start. And end over here. No, hang on. Start over here and then right click to end. Backwards. Oh, collision. Okay, that took a very long time to determine that. Potentially we might need to start it here instead. And that may stop the collision, potentially. Let's see. And an intersectional crossover prevented the end of the marker being reached. The marked section has been shortened automatically. The start and or end marker is missing. So it is. Okay, a little bit here. We may potentially need to fix that road. That road may be causing issues. Nice. Okay, cool. And is everything going in the right direction? No, it's not. Damn. Okay. We'll need to reverse everything. All right, but there we go. We made the connection. It's reasonably neat. Not the tidiest, but once again, is what it is. We'll make our connection over here first so we can get traffic starting to flow. And I think right here is probably a good place to make that connection. Otherwise, here. But we would need to modify this road so it goes through. But no, I think this road here is probably a good shout. All right, so we've got that first ramp going. And I think we might set up another one probably here. And I was tempted to put one up here, but no, we don't really need it. But I think Santa Rosa definitely does need a second set of ramps. We might do this as a bit of a park low. And yeah, I think we're going to sever this connection and force people to use our motorway. Cool. That's a nice little connection there. I'm reasonably happy with that. Obviously, I think it's pretty good with the tools you've got to work with in this game anyway. All we've got left to do now is to shift our freight traffic to running via road. So we'll need a new road connection, which we can probably just sort of tack on here or something like that. I don't think we need to go too silly about it. And that sort of will give an alternate route actually, which could be bad, could be good. But ultimately it's not going to be the most efficient way to get from Santa Rosa to LA or return. So hopefully I'm thinking people won't use it, or at least not too many people anyway. And we'll set it up as an 80k an hour road as well. I'll also take the opportunity to upgrade this as well, and remove the... shit, I did that in the wrong order, as I usually do. But yeah, we'll fix that all up and remove the rather large conflict movement we have with our rail lines. All right, so that should fix that up, and hopefully we can upgrade this section. I reckon we probably can. Yeah, perfect. So we do have a new route for our trucks. They are not going to be impacted by the rail line because this is a quite busy corridor. So I don't know why we, to be honest, didn't do it sooner, but it is what it is. And we should start to see this traffic coming back and hopefully flowing onto the motorways. And it looks like we are already, in fact, seeing a little bit of usage in terms of here, which is good. I actually want to fix this a little bit because it did break a little bit. And I want it to be a medium road. Which I think... Oh, okay. Collision. Interesting. Do we potentially need to just increase it a little bit more? To make it a bridge. Like increase it the minimum amount we need to make it a bridge. That looks really silly though, that it goes down and then up again. Okay, there we go. We've got a connection. Doesn't look quite as bad. And can we do the opposite? We can. Perfect. All right, there we go. That little bit of mischief is now solved. So where are we going to put our unload spots for our trucks? I would say we're probably going to have to spread them out a little bit because we've probably got quite a few locations in the city that could use it. Change to truck unload. Yeah, we've got a lot of sort of spread out demand here, don't we? Right here seems to be a pretty good coverage, but not everything. So we might even need to make this sort of quite a few unload spots. So I think these 4 are pretty much what we need. So we'll need to set up a new line for these. Got lost for a little bit there. This is where we need to go. We do have a third. No, I thought we had a third platform, but apparently we do not. But we probably can fix that, I would say. Let's try and get as much cargo sort of storage there as we can. We'll use the new third platform. And yeah, very roundabout way of doing this. And what are we running right now in Santa Rosa? I think these are a little bit old, if I'm not mistaken. 44 years old. So we can get rid of all of these and just, I guess, purchase a fresh new fleet to run. And we're going to need quite a few because this is going to be quite a back and forth sort of trip. So I might put 30 on here to start with. And we'll see where we go from there. And we'll take our existing freight loop service. We will scrap all of the vehicles and we will actually delete the line itself as well. Cool. That does free up a little bit of land for development, not too much, but there you go. Can get some new properties in there. Fantastic. And really, we're now left with the sort of large configuration changes we need to make here. Because our freight shuttle doesn't need to run anymore. And this is running actually quite old trains as well. So this is really good for us in multiple ways. So we can dispose of those. We will just continue the line itself. And yeah, now we can slightly realign how we're actually going to be running this line. So as we often see when we get rid of old freight platforms, it does give us a lot more room to work with. I'm going to get rid of these old cargo building connections. I am actually going to leave this cargo track here, and that's going to just allow us to keep our spacing from this road on the left-hand side, which I think is reasonably important. And we will get a new passenger connection, if we can get one anyway, because we don't appear to be making any connections at this point. We can try a small side building, and that does give us the connection. So basically what's going to be happening from here, our second freight platform is getting pulled. And we're probably going to need to pause as well, because I probably am going to break most things. We'll add a new passenger platform there. Now is when I pause, because now is when things will start to break. We'll remove this platform here. 2 sets of tracks here. And we remove this track here, in fact, is all we need to remove. Get a new platform in there, which we can't because there's a collision. So I'll just quickly do some deleting. Disconnect all of these tracks. And we'll get back to it. And we're going to need to slightly move our bus station, which I think should be okay. We could put it on the other side. Potentially, that's an option. Yeah, we might need to do that. We've got too much slope again. But here is good. Alrighty. Back to configuring our station again. Alright, so now we have basically maintained the same number of platforms, I should say, but we have significantly condensed it. We'll of course need to get a new building in, if we can. Perfect. Doesn't look like we quite connect up here, but I think we should be able to lay like a pedestrian path to make that happen. Possibly. I think that actually fixes it if we do that. Yeah, cool. All right, there we go. And what we're going to do from here now, so obviously we've still got the freight platform here, but it's not actually being used for freight. It's just to maintain the sort of connection to the outside world. And what we're going to do is our passenger trains will use, or sort of our mainline passenger trains will use the middle set of tracks here. We will use the outer tracks where this old freight platform is, and this one here is going to be a bypass. That's where our freight's going to run, and our terminating services will continue to terminate here. So just need to fix all of that up. And I immediately connected up incorrectly because that's just who I am. Okay. And just need to reconnect up the other side as well. We will need to lose a building. That's unfortunate, but that should be all we lose. There we go. So we've got going to have some unhappy people, of course, because we need to change where things are flowing. All right, so our warnings are all gone. We'll upgrade our tracks here to high speed. And lovely. That should be all the work we need to do now on this section of track. Actually, I misspeak. We do need to add in signals, and we also need to add in our waypoints for our freight vehicles as well. So Cross River Freight Trip Train is one of the trains that runs through here. It only runs in one direction, as we know, because it does bypass and go around the back. Now, where else do we run through here? Is that the only thing? Or do we also have our Peoria? Yeah, we do. Okay, cool. That is good. Perfect. So this should make this flow a tiny bit better as well. Now we are seeing a few cars are using this. Not a massive amount, so it's not terrible. I'm just hoping they're not going to prefer using that connection to this one. It looks like people are still going in this direction, so hopefully it's okay. And I'm just reviewing our coal and iron ore lines, and things look to be flowing pretty smoothly. I'm not seeing any massive backups. Of course, there is always going to be a little bit of conflict when we've got trains coming through flat junctions like this, but overall, I think it's going fine. So we might see if we can potentially upgrade 2 of the lines to run 4 trains, and then wait to put on the additional 2, I guess, on the other 2 lines. Let's see how we go. Perfect. So let's see how that ends up. And it's time for the next edition of Let's Replace Some Really Old Trains that we forgot about. So we've got a few very old trains here, and a few very old trams as well. So we'll look to do some upgrade to the latest of quite a lot of different things. First of all, we've got the LA goods feeder line. This, I mean, it doesn't really make any profit. Oh, it does from time to time, actually, I lie. But it hasn't in a while. And there's probably a few reasons for that. Let's pop over there and check it out first of all. So the LA goods feeder runs from LA South into our LA freight hub. It's a reasonably quiet line, though we do have quite a few trains that run in this direction. So potentially we could look to upgrade it to double track, which is going to increase the throughput a little bit. And what are you waiting for? It's because, of course, we don't really have any signaling. So that does slow things down as well. So yes, we will actually upgrade this to double track. I was pressing the wrong hotkeys for a second there, so it was going a bit weird. We don't need, as far as I'm aware, any overheads here. So we'll save a few bucks there. We'll need to remove a few buildings, but it's okay. We will rebuild. And I think really... Oh, hang on. Need to... Hang on. I'm thinking. I think we might need to slightly realign this station as well. We'll do it this way instead of how we had it set up before. So instead of using this right platform, we'll now have our feeder service use the left one instead. That will allow us to just configure things a little bit better. Cool. And we should be able to signal this section as well. All right. So that little network improvement's done. Now on to replacing this train, which is what we're actually intending to do. There's a very old F7, or probably it was maybe an F9 when we built it. But we only need one here, and we should be able to... What's the problem? Why can't we do this? We've made a mistake of some sort. Oh, never mind. It's back. I don't know what it was happening there. So we'll get this replaced. We'll run a single ES44AC. And that should be enough. We're actually hitting mediocre. I think it's okay. Get that replaced and we are all done. All right, and off to replace a few more trains. So we've got the Lafayette crude oil train. This is one that is very profitable, a very short line. And I think we can probably actually get 2 on, to be honest. How long is this guy? 320 meters, and yeah, I think we do have 2 tracks there that are actually dedicated for its use. So I think we might get this duplicated as well. We've definitely got the raw materials to support duplicating. Hate it when we can't build. Annoying. For some reason, it's quite often shorter lengths that will work and large ones won't for whatever reason. It's not great, but it is what it is, I guess. We do actually need a slip track, which is cool. We can do something like that. This is only for like maintenance uses, so it's okay. And we will get this old bird replaced, and we'll get it duplicated as well. We'll double head this one, just because I think we'll need the extra power. Especially now that we've got 2 running, we do, you know, not want them to be delaying each other. And duplicated as well. Perfect. Another train replaced. Next is Lafayette to Lakewood Grain, which is this train here. And this is one we can probably add an additional one on as well. We've got plenty of raw material ready to supply. And that's just going to boost our production of livestock. So yeah, why not? Let's do that. I'm assuming these are 320 meters. I'm lost. No, it was right there. No, they're 480. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we can really do something good with these then. Triple head them as we've been doing with our longer cars. No problem with that. And I believe we need to use mill gondolas for these. Beautiful. So replace and also duplicate. And yeah, now we've got a lot of tram vehicles that we need to get fixed up. So I'm probably not going to show these. I'm just going to upgrade them in the background to the newest models. Alrighty, so we replaced all of those old trams with these new ones, which are quite a bit longer, and they're double the capacity. So I did reduce the number of vehicles we were running in some cases. Like if there were 10 vehicles, I reduced it to 6. If there were 5, I just took 1 off and reduced it to 4. But these are much more efficient, obviously carry much larger volumes of passengers, so I think it's going to be good for the network. And we've only got time for a quick ride along today, so I thought we would head on to our Cross River main line and just see how those configuration changes we've made to Santa Rosa, how they affect the flow of traffic through there from, I guess, from the driver's eye view. So let's hop on, and I hope you enjoy. So here we are arriving in LA for the end of our journey. I hope you enjoyed it. I personally thought that sort of stretch of track through Santa Rosa was a lot smoother now that we've made our modifications. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. How much better is San Francisco looking now that we've got our heavy sort of bulk minerals separated from the rest of the freight? I think it's looking great. Definitely we've been able to support adding additional trains to our bulk freight lines, and hopefully in the future we can add a few more in to continue to capitalize on the boom in production we've got in our coal and iron ore fields. But that's going to be about all we have time for in this episode, so I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patrons Caleb and Isaiah. Thank you so much to the two of you for helping to make this content possible. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.